how wind blows. You find wind blowing more in the desert place because everywhere is scanty, just blow sand, blow the environment. But in a place where there are so many things, the effect of wind is not really felt. Then the hydrogen air concentration, that's the pH of the environment. For instance, a particular soil, some plants will not grow in acidic soil. Some plants, they prefer acidic soil. So that's another factor that affects the distribution of organisms. So plants that don't survive in acidic soil, you won't find them there. Then salinity. Salinity is the salt content, and this is a factor in the aquatic environment. So some organisms tolerate high salt, while some don't tolerate salt. They live in fresh water. So we have freshwater habitat and salt habitat. Then we have relative humidity. Relative humidity is the amount of water in the atmosphere. So we have some environments being dry, while we have others kind of moist. So the amount of water in the atmosphere also affects the kind of organism that you find in a particular environment. The pressure or the altitude of a particular place is also another factor that affects the distribution of organisms. Also, we have inorganic compounds. The inorganic compound that is available in a particular location affects the kind of organisms that are distributed there. After talking about the physical factors that affect the distribution of organisms, so we want to talk about the instruments that are used in measuring these physical factors. Temperature, which is the hotness or coldness of a place, is measured by a thermometer. So thermometer is used to measure the temperature of a place. That's the instruments used in measuring temperature. So if you want to determine the temperature of this place now or your room, you have to get a thermometer. Then rain. Amount of rainfall in a place is determined by the instrument called the rain gauge. Also, the wind direction, that is the direction of wind, the direction that the wind is blowing, north, west, south, east, is determined by an instrument called an anemometer. Then the speed of a wind speed now, is measured by another instrument called wind vane, while relative humidity is measured by the instrument called hygrometer. I explained what relative humidity is. The amount of water that is in the atmosphere is the relative humidity, and it is measured by hygrometer. Then light intensity, the amount of light that you find in a particular environment, is measured by photometer, photo light. So photometer is used in measuring the amount of light intensity. Then the atmospheric pressure is measured by a barometer. The pressure in a particular atmosphere is measured by a barometer. Then the pH, that is the hydrogen ion concentration in a particular place, either soil or water, is measured by an instrument called the pH meter. So we have these instruments used in measuring the various physical factors. So now we'll be talking about the edaphic factors now, and we'll be talking about the soil. The soil is the outermost layer of the earth crust. That's the one that is closest to the outside of the earth crust, and it is formed by broken and weathered rocks. So over time, when rocks get broken and organic matter works on it, it results in what we have as soil. The soil is composed of mineral particles, air, water, and humus. Also, we have three types of soil majorly. We have the clayey soil, the loamy soil, and the humus soil. Now, talking about the loamy soil has an average airspace for root respiration. That is, it has a moderate, it accommodates the roots of the soil. It helps respiration from the roots. So that's what that statement means. Then the particles of the soil are smooth and fine. That is, it's even. It's smooth. When it gets mixed with water, it's even. You don't have big, small. It's even. It's very fine. It's smooth. Then the soil sticks together. You have the soil sticks together because of these characteristics. Then it retains the greatest amount of water for the use of plants. When you compare the loamy, the sandy, and the clay soil, you discover that the loamy retains the greatest amount of water. So it aids plants growth when there is enough water for the plants to absorb. So loamy soil is very good and aids the growth of plants by retaining the greatest amount of water. Then it has a fairly good drainage and porosity for moderate capillarity. When you pour water inside it, it can retain the water. It doesn't log water, that is, the water don't just stick there and stays there. No, over time it will leave, but by the time the water leaves the soil, the plant has taken enough that it needs. So it has fairly good drainage and moderate capillarity. It has average airspace for respiration. I said that the particles are smooth and fine. Then I said the soil sticks together. The other characteristics is that it retains the greatest amount of water for plant use. Now, to clay soil. Clay soil is smooth and predominantly clay. It's very smooth and it is clay. It is poorly drained. That is, it retains a lot of water and the water can be there for days. It will just remain there. So it's poor. It has poor drainage system. Then it has high capillarity when you pour water. Then it is poorly aerated because it has small air spaces. So it sticks. It just sticks together like that. It doesn't allow for the roots of the plants to grow in it, to move in it. Then it is heavy and hard. The soil particles stick together to form lumps. So when they stick together and over time the soil gets dry, just form lumps. Then the particles are small. The bacterial population in clay soil is very low. You know, bacteria are not just harmful. They are not all the time harmful. You have very beneficial bacteria that helps the soil growth. So the bacteria is in a clay soil is very low. Then when you have a clay soil, the association that it's only clay soil that is available for you to do your farming, you can add lime to improve the texture. When you add lime, it becomes better. That's the characteristics of clay soil for you. Now to sandy soil. Sandy soil is predominantly sandy. It is coarse with large particles. Clay soil has small particles. Sandy soil have large particles. Then sandy soil retains little water. When you pour water in it, before you know it, the water has gone away. When you just look at it like this, the water is gone. Then it encourages leaching of nutrients. Clay soil, the nutrient just disappears. Then it is poor in plant nutrients. You don't have sufficient nutrients for a plant to germinate to full maturity in the sandy soil. Then the particles do not stick together. They are just scattered. They are on their own. Then you can improve a sandy soil by adding organic matter. One thing I want you to know about these three types of soil is that loamy soil is a combination of clay soil and sandy soil, like 45% to 55%. So you have 55% clay, 45% sand. So it's a balance between the clay soil and the sandy soil. So that's why it's the best. It's perfect for planting or farming activities. Then the importance of humus. I said you can improve the properties of the sandy soil by adding humus. So what is humus and what are the properties of humus? Humus is decaying organic matter broken down by microorganisms. You find it very dark, and most times you find humus in places of refuge. When you dump your refuge, when you dig the soil of your refuge place where you throw your waste, you discover that the sand there is very, very dark. And why? Organic materials, organic matters that you have dropped there, those that are degradable or that the bacteria could work upon, they worked upon it, so they have decayed. both plants, like your leaves, everything that can decay, they've decayed there in the ground, so it has very high nutrients. That's one thing about humus, has very high nutrients. Then it provides adequate drainage. Humus improves texture and water holding capacity of the soil when you add humus to your soil. Then it prevents the soil from being too acidic or basic. The pH, that is the hydrogen ion concentration of the soil, has to be balanced. If the soil is too acidic, it's harmful. If it's too basic, the plants will not go well. So humus brings a balance, and that's why you have humus in the loamy soil. Then humus prevents leaching, prevents the washing away of the nutrients of the soil. So now I want to compare the differences between the clay soil and the sandy soil. What differences do we have in them? Sandy soil has large particles, I mentioned that earlier, while clay soil has very small particles. Then sandy soil is easily separated, they don't stick together. But clay soil, they cling together and form lumps. The sandy soil is porous, and they have larger spaces, so that accounts for the reason they don't lump together. But the clay soil is not porous, it has small air spaces, so that's why they lump together. Then the sandy soil has good drainage, while the clay soil has poor drainage system. The sandy soil retains little water, while the clay soil retains small water. The water in the sandy soil retain water lesser than clay soil retain water. Then sandy soil is infertile soil.